Yo, what's going on, man? Today is March the 14th, 2024. It's your boy Chris, and this is the ChrisBeCappinn NBA show where I'm live on Twitter, also live on YouTube as well. We got a 6-game slate today, man. A lot of lines have already kind of lost some value, and honestly, at this point, you might be looking towards taking some of the value with some of these lines that shifted, so much, and just overnight. A lot of these lines came out last night. I did a morning show. Hopefully, people were able to tune in and just kind of help with the analysis based on what I was seeing in those games. We'll run through the card real quick today. Like I said, it's only 6 games. You got a lot of NCAA going on as well, and just want to just make sure we got the most updated injury report stuff, and then we could jump right into it, man. Jump right into it. Coming off a pretty good day on plays that I actually gave out. So we got Simons now listed as questionable, which, definitely helps the play that we took. We'll talk about that. Jeremy Grant already ruled out, and Jabari Walker also already ruled out. So, gotta love some of that. Hopefully Anthony Simons doesn't play either, because that'll help that team total under that we play. But I know I talked about it yesterday for people who joined the show. I talked about really liking a couple player props. It was Cade Cunningham, who shot 8 for 20 from the field. Sit out the last 12, 13 minutes, not 100% sure why. So he didn't get to his 22 points, 22 and a half. And then I also talked about LeBron. Lakers just didn't show up last night. Bron shot the ball terrible last night. First game that he's gone under his points and assists in 10 straight games. So, those player props did not cash. I didn't send those out, though. As far as the official plays that I did send out, we had a winning day yesterday. It was Orlando minus 6.5 and Golden State and Dallas under. Definitely looking to kind of build on that. After we lost the one bet with Boston, with Milwaukee and Sacramento, we have gone 5-1, I think, on the week. So quality over quantity, not forcing a lot of plays, but it is a couple that I did play last night. So first game up, we got the Boston Celtics. They will be at home playing against the Phoenix Suns today. And they're laying 5.5 points. Now, I really want to get there with the Suns in this spot. I know that Boston has been, offensive juggernaut, and it's really hard to bet against this team. But I kind of like this spot here. I think, for Phoenix anyway, they're off 2 days rest versus Boston only having 1 day rest to fly back, to the East Coast after that 5-game road trip. And Boston has absolutely been hot. They've won 8 of their last 10, and they're 8-10 against the spread in their last 10 games as well. I think with Phoenix, this is going to be, in my opinion, the most complete roster that they have. I went through and looked at some of the advanced numbers for Phoenix with Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, and Kevin Durant all in the lineup. This team they're averaging 121 points per 100 possessions. This team total today, I'm looking at it right now, 109.5. I see some 110s, but 109.5, 110. To me, looking at the advanced numbers, Phoenix has a really good offense. We know on the season they've been a really good offense, 8th in offensive rating over the as far as points scored per 100 possessions. Excuse me. After the All-Star break, it has taken a little bit of a dip, but they're still scoring 113.5 points per 100 possessions. I think that this will be a more I know that the full game total has dropped, which makes this team total for Phoenix has dropped as well. But if you're going to tell me that Grayson Allen is going to be on the floor with their big three and Nurkic, I think that they'll be able to score the ball. I think that's the only way they'll be able to stay in the game. I know that the defense has been playing a little bit better, but I can't depend on the defense. In my opinion, I can't depend on the defense. They're 17th after the All-Star break in points allowed per 100 possessions. They are 9th in effective field goal percentage, but they don't force a lot of turnovers. They do a pretty good job of keeping teams off the glass, and they're not fouling at a really high rate either. So if Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, and Kate, especially off a revenge game, I think team total over is the right spot in this game. Of course, without Porzingis and Jaylen Brown, I actually pulled that up as well. The Boston Celtics, they're still really, really good. They're scoring 128.1 points per 100 possessions across almost 1,500 possessions without Porzingis and Jaylen Brown on the floor. And Jaylen Brown hasn't been ruled out yet, but I just wanted to kind of look at the numbers. Their defense is still really good. They're giving up 110.9 points per 100 possessions. I think Phoenix team total over It's probably the best look here, but it's not anything that I put in my pocket yet. Want to wait on the status for this game, but it does feel like a game. I talked about it earlier this morning where I think Phoenix could potentially cover this number just because it's a bad spot for the Boston Celtics. Boston has been turned up in these games after the All-Star break, though. So really, really difficult to bet against the Boston Celtics. Let's go to the chat. What up, Tasha? She says, I'm number one. Appreciate you for tapping in, Tasha. What's up, Jose? He says, let's get it today, fam. He says, Chris about to help us with some fire info. I sure hope so. What's up, Kenneth? Shout out to my guy, Kenneth, man. Kenneth, you, what did I write down yesterday? It was Brooklyn team total, first quarter under. I didn't even play it, but I watched that pretty much the whole game because that was the bet that I liked the most yesterday, Orlando minus the 6.5. And yeah, you cashed that one with no problem. So shout out to you, Kenneth, for providing the chat with a winner yesterday. Brooklyn team total, first quarter team total, under 25.5. Shout out to my guy, Kenneth. What up, David? He says, ladies and gentlemen, you are now tuned in to the hardest working man in sports betting. I appreciate that, David. I don't know if I'm the hardest working. I just try to make the most money. I'll tell you that. Tasha says, I can't do it. I can't bet against Boston. So for full disclosure, Tasha, if I had to bet the game, I would just take the team total over for the Phoenix Suns and stay away from the spread. I don't want to bet against Boston either. I know that they're not at full strength. But this team they're doing something different right now. But I think if any team had a chance to cover against Boston, it would be Phoenix based on, they've had a difficult schedule. After those 2 losses to Cleveland and into Denver, it's been a pretty, cupcake schedule. They went into Portland, went into Utah. So I can see your hesitation, but Phoenix with a full squad, healthy squad, a day's rest, revenge on their mind. I feel like this has to be a Phoenix spot, in my opinion. Kenneth says definitely a Phoenix spot, but tough to fade Boston. I agree. What's up to my guy, Tachi? He says, what up, Chris? What up to the chat? He says, I got to head out, but I believe Chris is on Knicks or Portland team total under, so I wanted to share a trend with y'all, and I definitely am. Atachi says, since 2017, double-digit road favorites off a 4-game homestand are 22-3, 22-3-0, 7.5, I think, 7.58, 88% trend here. Trend is also straight up 23-2, 92%, meaning there's only been one win when they haven't covered. Yeah, and I think that's why you see the number go up, especially with with Simons being added to the injury report. And granted, you look at this Portland team, they are getting a little healthier. Scoot Henderson is back. I talked about it earlier. Aiden, he's calling himself dominating, which is hilarious to me at the end of the season that he want to turn into Superman. But that's a different story. What I will say, outside of Portland getting the win last night, typically you want to fade those teams. And I didn't get there, right? I said yesterday that I, was going to take New York on the spread. I gave out the Portland team total under 99.5 last night was the official play that I gave out. But we'll get into that. I'll take a deeper dive. But appreciate you for dropping through as always, Itachi. Best of luck tonight on all your action as well. I see you hot over there on Twitter, and I hope you stay hot, my brother. Let's see. Jose says a lot of people on the Suns. What's up to my guy LJ? Jay Gill, what's going on, my brother? Monica says, hello, Chris. I'm on Phoenix. Okay. And I hope you cash it, Monica. I don't know if I can get there, man. Tariq says, Jim and listening to Chris show. Let's get it. I like the Suns plus the point. So Tariq not afraid. He said he gonna do it. BBP Sports says Boston got it tonight. It'll be close. Money line them. I could see it. I could definitely see it, man. I feel Boston is eventually going to not cover a spread, man. They can win a game and not cover the spread. I know they've been turned up, but like I said, if Phoenix will ever have a shot getting Devin Booker back, still no Porzingis on the other side. I think the only time Boston is going to be competitive, in my opinion, the only time Phoenix is going to be competitive, they have everybody in. And tonight is a spot where I know they're still missing like Nasir Little, and I don't think Eric Gordon's playing, but outside of them, you got Grayson Allen in the corner spotting up from 3. Boston has a much better bench, in my opinion, especially without Eric Gordon. But something tells me with all 3 of those guys, at least it's an offensive explosion, in my opinion. Jose says, so does that mean an over on the game? At this point, Jose, when I was looking at it earlier, I was thinking under. Like last night, I was thinking under, but the total has dropped. This opened at 231.5. It's down 6 points to 225.5. I would play over now. I know Phoenix on the road, they've been road dogs 11 times. They're 6-5 against the spread, 5-6 straight up as well. So they've been covering. They win those games. Half of the time they've been winning those games as road dogs. But they are 9-2 to the under. That was the one thing that kind of scared me off a little bit. When Phoenix is a road favorite, they typically don't cover the spread. And that's why they're 2-8 against the spread in their last 10 games, because they're not good as a favorite. But when they're a dog, they typically do play a little bit more defense. If you watch the Cleveland game, remember I gave out Phoenix minus 2.5 early, and Phoenix played no defense, none. They did not show up defensively at all. However, when they were dogs just a couple games ago in Denver, they played some of the best defense they had played all season. Probably the biggest win that they've had when they went into Phoenix and got a win. So I think that says that maybe the game goes under, but I'm not playing the under with Boston being the greatest. Not with this offensive efficiency that Boston has right now. And my guy Finesse says Suns team total over 2. He likes the over 109.5. And that 109.5 is actually it's still available on bet. It's available on Unibet, which limited me last night, man. Can't believe Unibet limited me. You know what? It's a different story, but Unibet limited me. Yeah, they got a 109, and Bet Rivers also got a 109 as well. 109.5 there. Douglas says, I think I'm gonna mess around and play both sides of the first half full time. Douglas likes this bet a lot. Shout out to you, Douglas. Appreciate you for tapping in. What up, J Juice? He says, only way tonight, Boston Celtics over. He likes Boston in the over 226.5. Okay, so we got some different thoughts on that game, man. I think it's a very conflicting one. Spot says Phoenix, but who wants to really bet against Boston with your money? That's difficult. All right, let's keep it pushing. Next game up, we got the Clippers. They will be in Chicago tonight. Still not 100% sure who's going to be available in this game. On the Phoenix side, I did tell you guys earlier this morning, after looking into the beat writers list last night, that I thought Kobe White wasn't going to play. He went down, hyperextended. I think it was his quad, and he's not going to return. He's not going to return tonight. I think he was going to get some testing done, some further evaluation in Chicago. It says that last thing I read a couple hours ago is that he could return on Saturday. I forgot who they play, but he could return on the Saturday game. So they'll be without him. And it's a really bad spot for the Bulls here. Second leg of a back-to-back, third game in 4 nights, 4th and 6 off the overtime game. And while, typically you don't always want to fade these teams off an overtime game, I just worry how much the Chicago Bulls team is going to be able to score without the services. And you look at the minute without the services of Kobe White, you look at the minutes that these guys played yesterday. DeRozan played 44 last night. Vucevic played 43. Ayo Dosunmu played 43. This is a major, major fatigue spot. Not only, and you played the Pacers the night before as well. So I know that the Clippers haven't necessarily been great. I went through and kind of listened to the comments as well. Ty Lue says that he kind of called his team out and he challenged them, like mentally challenged them, because they was up by 20 in that last game and they lost, of course. So I think it lines up to be a bounce back Clipper spot. Now, Kawhi Leonard, of course, is questionable, and you got James Harden listed as questionable. I'm not sure if either one of those guys are going to play in this game, but it feels like it's still got to be. It's still got to be. Let's look at something real quick. This is something that I didn't get a chance to look at. I just want to check out the Bulls' offensive efficiency numbers without Kobe White, and I'm gonna take Zach LaVine off as well. Averaging offense actually ranks in the 16th percentile, averaging 109.6 points per 100 possessions, giving up 116.6 points per 100 possessions. So getting outscored by about 7 points per 100 possessions, which is very indicative of where this line is right now. You see it at -6. And he won't be out there. And you got DeRozan on the second leg of a back-to-back. I did see that Torrey Craig is listed as probable for this game, so you could potentially get him back. Yeah, I know that the Bulls are 6-5 straight up and against the spread on revenge days. 1 second, give me 1 second. All right, cool. Need to reply to that. So Bulls are 6-5 straight up and against the spread on 0 days rest. They've actually won and covered 3 straight in this spot. They're also 4-0 to the over in this spot in their last 4. They're also 5-4 straight up and against the spread after an overtime game, and 8-1 to the over, with all 9 of their opponents actually going over their team total. 8-1 are their opponents in their last 9 games. 8-1 to the over, and with all of their opponents going over their team total. So I know earlier I talked about the Clippers team total to go over. I don't like that number as much if we don't get James Harden in here. And I don't think that Kawhi is going to play. And the Clippers also on the first leg of a back-to-back with the Pelicans tomorrow. So this is the difficult game now, but it would only be Clippers for me in this one. And I think as much as I want to play over, I looked at that as well, War Lover. And the thing that talked me off the over is because I don't know who's going to score for the Bulls. Like it's going to be difficult for them to manufacture points, in my opinion, especially against a really hungry Clippers team. Well, at least I think it's going to be a hungry Clippers team off back-to-back, home losses where they look sad the other day. Like I think they're going to be locked into this game. And with the Bulls winning, a lot of the times I look into these spots, man, and the team that's off the overtime game that loses, they typically fight hard the next day. The trends support them in covering the spread and playing a little bit harder. But when teams win that game and then they win off an overtime game and they got a game the next day, that's typically a spot where it's like, you know what? We cool with taking this L because we got one last night that we wasn't supposed to. So real quick, I want to look at something real quick. So I looked at road favorites and their opponent rest equals 0, and their opponent previous overtime game was greater than 0, and their opponent previous rest equals 1. And no, you know what? And opponent previous win. So this was something that I looked into. So real quick, well, I'm not gonna share my screen, but real quick. So the spot for the Clippers, road favorites playing an opponent off an overtime game with no rest, and their opponent won the game. Those teams, the spot for the Clippers, 25-10 straight up, 21-14 against the spread. That's 60%. And those games are 21-12-2 to the under. So that's 63.6% says that these games go under. Looking at this trend, this goes all the way back to, I don't know how far I go back, but if I just look at since 2000 and let's just do 16, because this doesn't happen often. 6-2 to the 6-2-1 to the under. 6-2-1 to the under. So I know that the Clippers defense has been playing well, but it's a spot where they should step up in this game. So that's what kind of kept me off of the total in this one, because I see War Lover, and that was something that I looked at too. Over under, not 100% sure. CAC React says he likes Booker and Derek White 4+ rebounds in the first game on DK. Javi says he likes Phoenix plus the points as well. Vaughn says first quarter and first half over. Phoenix Boston for him. Tariq says I took the Clippers. I also sprinkled on them fourth quarter. It's minus 0.5. That's probably a good look, Tariq, because if the Bulls gonna run out of gas, it's definitely gonna be late in this game. I can see them not really scoring at all. That's probably a really good look, Tariq. Shout out to you for that. Jose says a lot of overs tonight. Frank says Harden not sitting. Yeah, hope Harden plays as well. I hope he does play. Jay Juice likes Clippers and the over 216.5. Okay, so a lot of people do like the over here. I'm just not sure if the Bulls gonna score. I don't know how the Bulls score in this spot, but if you guys like it, definitely, let me talk you off of it, especially if you bet it already. Next game up, we got the Philadelphia 76ers. They will be in Milwaukee today. They are getting 7.5 points. This line actually opened, I think, at 8.5 is what I had written. No, they actually opened at 9. This total was at 222.5. You see it all the way down to 219. Got to agree with the movement there. Philly has really, really struggled to score the ball. Even though Milwaukee, bottom 5 defensive team over the last 4 games. I just bet on them against the Sacramento Kings. They absolutely got smoked. And I read this quote from Giannis, which, sometimes you can throw away the numbers. It's really just what you want to bet on. And what you believe more so than anything, because the defensive numbers over the last 5 games have absolutely been terrible. Real quick, Giannis said, and I quote, we got to match their energy, find the pace, especially early in the game. If you're not locked in and not able to match the same energy as them, you're going to have problems. I think starting the game, it sets the tone for the rest of the game. So reading that quote, right? I know Boston has been bad. I know Milwaukee has been bad, specifically on that road trip. They went 1-3 straight up, 1-3 against the spread. However, I think this is a potential spot where when they went on that West Coast road trip, they played a lot of great teams. When we think about who they played against the Golden State Warriors. The Warriors were off their worst loss in franchise history. They had just lost against Boston. They played against the Lakers. D'Angelo Russell just, really turned into Steph Curry in that game as well. Then they played against a Clipper team on the second leg of a back-to-back. Granted, that wasn't a great spot. And then they played against the Kings. So that's 4 teams that's all battling for playoff position over in the Western Conference. And this Philadelphia 76ers team is it's nothing like those teams. This team has been bad recently. Like, Philly has not looked good at all. I know that the Bucks are just 1-5 against the spread coming home off a road loss. That was something that I looked into as well. And I'm not saying that I want to lay 7.5 with the Bucks, but I think Bucks first half is probably the best look in this game. I can see the Bucks really being able, to get the job done early in this spot. So that's the way I would play it. Given the Giannis quote, I know Philly is going to be motivated in this spot. I can't back Philly, man. Philly has been, they've not been good offensively, defensively after the All-Star break. I can't quite get there with them. Philly is 28th in offensive rating. So like I said, nothing like any of those 4 teams that this Bucks team just played against. After the All-Star break, 28th in point score per 100 possessions, 30th in effective field goal percentage. So that's worse than Memphis. Their offense has been worse than Memphis since the All-Star break. Also not getting to the free throw line. They're fouling a lot. They're fouling more than any other team. Giannis going to be putting his head down trying to get to the rim. I think Bucks first half, even if they don't cover the full number, I do think it's the right side in this game. Let's see what you guys think here. Angelo says, I like Clippers by 15. Okay. John Bell says the DeRozan minus 12. Laugh a lot. He was just waking up. Tasha says Tobias Harris under 16 points and Kyle Lowry over 4.5 assists. Tobias hasn't been scoring over 10 points a lot lately. It depends on what matchup he get, but I will say this: we know that the strength, the weakness of that Bucks defense is guards, right? We just saw D'Angelo Russell go off. I think Steph might have had a good game. We know De'Aaron Fox killed them. They've really just not been able to stop guards, and I'm not sure what they're going to be able to do with Maxey today. But I don't see anybody outside of Maxey really playing, too well. And I don't like the spot as much. First game back home off a 4-game road trip, West Coast road trip, but only 1 day of rest in between as well. But I do think they started the game off hot, man. Bucks first half is something that I'm still considering, just haven't gotten quite there yet. Tasha also says Kyle Lowry over 4.5 assists. Chad says 76 is going to look great versus the Bucks defense. Or does the Bucks defense look great against the 76ers offense as well, Chad? Chad, if you was playing this game, you're a pretty sharp guy. If you was playing this game, Chad, what would be your top play? I'm curious to know. LJ said what I said. Bucks first half minus 3.5. He says they're 21-10-1 against the spread at home. He likes Giannis 35 points and the Bucks to win as well at plus 215. Giannis put his head down. I'm not sure who's going to stop him. I really have no idea. Not Mo Bamba and not B-Ball Paul either. So, I just think it's a bad spot for Philly. And like I said, I can't trust their offense. The defense still just 19th in points allowed per 100 possessions. Like I said, they're fouling. They're giving up a ton of offensive rebounds. If Milwaukee wants to come out here and play this game the way that they can, they do have a lot of matchup advantages. Also, after the All-Star break, their offense has really, really just been struggling to score the ball. They're not ranked top 10 on offense in frequency or accuracy in any category, except the above the break 3, where they're shooting it at the 9th highest rate, but they only converting 20. They rank 23rd, only shooting 34%. So I think this is what Milwaukee needed right here. I think is an offense like this to get themselves back together. I'm talking myself into it. I'm probably gonna play Bucks. Bucks first half minus the 3.5. Get there with you, LJ. I know I talked about it this morning on the morning show. Bucks first half minus the 3.5. I'm probably gonna add that as well. John says Kyle Lowry over 7.5 points. I can see it. This offense is really struggled. They'll need him. And that defense, the Bucks defense, has struggled against guards. Warzone says I'm trying something crazy today. Any game over 233, I bet the under. Any game under 233, I bet the over. Best of luck. I hope you got some reasoning behind it. That's all that matters. 7 Lucky says Milwaukee money line. I don't know what you're doing with that Milwaukee money line. That the odds on that is probably not great at all. But if that's the type of betting that you want to play, absolutely put it with something. I don't think that they lose the game though. I don't think that they lose the game if I'm being honest. And I like that first half a little bit more than anything. War Levis says just for fun. Okay. All right, let's keep it pushing. Next game up, we have the Dallas Mavericks and the Oklahoma City Thunder. This was one that we talked about on the show yesterday as well. I will say this, man. I talked about liking OKC. That line was at 6 yesterday around this time, and I said I think it might have been Chad in the comment section was telling me about the game, and I said, man, I said 6 is that's a little rich. I had no idea that that Golden State was going to make Dallas fight that hard. Dallas they really couldn't hit a shot yesterday. They really struggled to score in that game, which is why we cashed the under. And Luka, came up, ended up not finishing the game with a hamstring injury. Now you get Dallas on the second leg of a back-to-back. Luka is not going to Dallas. I talked about. I mean, he's not going to OKC. He didn't go take the trip because they do have a game on Sunday against the Denver Nuggets. So second leg of a back-to-back, but it's funny because Dallas plays well in the second leg of a back-to-back, and they play well without Luka. They're 7-3 against the spread when they're unrested this season, 5-0 against the spread when they're unrested and on the road in the second leg of a back-to-back. However, those wins did come against those covers came against the Raptors, the Nets, the Wizards. They did get the Magic as well, and they got one with the Timberwolves, where the Timberwolves were laying like 12 points without Luka. And we know that the Timberwolves don't typically cover those big numbers at home. Dallas is getting outscored by about 4.5 points per 100 possessions without Luka on the floor. Offense generating about 114.7 points per 100 possessions. Versus with Luka on the floor, they're much better. Offense scoring about 121 points per possession with Luka on the floor. So this is one of the reasons why I jumped on the under. I know that OKC can really, really turn it up and score a lot. But at 239, I felt like, and this is where I got limited at last night on Unibet. When I tried to bet this, they let me put $18 on it. Oh, no, $22, I think is what they let me put on it. But regardless, I do think it's an under game. It's not anything that I played super heavy, but I could, OKC has been the third best defense in the league after the All-Star break. Dallas actually plays a little bit better defensively without Luka on the floor. Hopefully Kyrie doesn't go too crazy. I think that this is an under game. I don't think that we see 120 to 120 or 130 to 110. I think OKC can win this game, 120 to 110, something like that. I just don't think it's going to be 240 points being scored. So I did give out the under last night at 239. This total is now down to 235. So still a little bit of juice there. I think probably now the way I would look is probably Mavs team total under. I just think OKC, going to be fired up. Coming off a loss to the Pacers. Also just got smoked by 35 points to these Dallas Mavericks back on February the 10th, I think it was. I like the look here. I'm not interested in laying 11 points though. I think that's a tad bit too much, too rich for my blood when this line was 6 yesterday. And then last night I did give it out at 7.5. So I think it's going to be, about a 9-10 point win, but there could be a backdoor cover here for the Dallas Mavericks. They also just don't roll over, when they're shorthanded. So those guys are still going to want to play well. Still got Kyrie, PJ Washington, Daniel Gafford, Derek Lively, Tim Hardaway Jr. It's a Hardy off the bench. It's a lot of Jalen Green, Dante Exum. It's a lot of guys that can still hoop for this team, but I like OKC in this spot, man. I definitely took OKC minus the 7.5. I wouldn't play it now. I probably would play if I had to play it now. I'd probably play Dallas plus the 11, given the current number. But like the position I got in at 7.5, and like I said, I did play the under here. Let's see. Warlover likes Mavericks in the first quarter. He thinks that they keep it close early, plus the 5.5. Tasha says she got it at 6 last night. Shout out to Tasha. You got a better number than I did. Mavs, Dallas. Man, Dallas is the most unpredictable team, not gonna lie. Cost me too much. Yeah, they did cover last night. Not sure what you're referencing here. Oh, LJ likes the opposite. He says OKC first quarter minus the 3. He says they're 11-3 ATS in the first quarter at home versus the West. Last 14. Also, OKC is 14-4 versus the West at home since November. I was thinking this as well, LJ. OKC, when they play well, they typically cover the first quarter. First half, too. I know, they're 19-9, which is, I think, the second best ATS record at home. A little over 60%, I want to say. And they typically cover both. So first quarter, first half, and full game. It's typically a trifecta spot with this OKC team. What up, Will? He says, what up, though, Chris? Just pulling up. He says he plays Zubac over 10.5 points. at minus 414. He says the Bulls have been giving up that number to centers 11 straight games since the All-Star break, including Zubac, who scored 16 last game. Okay, so some Zubac love, especially without Kawhi. I can see him having a little bit bigger of a role. Vucevic also, like I said, played 40 plus minutes last night, so that makes a lot of sense. Jose likes that OKC team total to go over. LA Mackin also likes that team total over 124 as well. So hopefully it's about 124 to to 110. I don't even want to scare with this under 240. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see how the flow, how the flow goes and who dictates the pace. I feel like Dallas will probably want to play a little bit slower without Luka. But we'll see how it goes, man. These games have gone over this season. I think not even this season, but I think they are like 6-0 to the over in the last six meetings. But that's not something I took heavily into the handicap. It's more a situational spot for me. And I do like the under. Like I said, OKC is a top 3 defensive team since the All-Star break. So last game on the board, we have the New York Knickerbockers. They will be in Portland tonight. This line was at 8, and I said I was going to take this one as well. Number got away from me, and this is where I jumped on Portland team total under. That number probably has gone down now just because a couple guys have been ruled out already. And I kind of thought that Jeremy Grant wasn't going to play. Yeah, this number is down to 96.5 now. And it's crazy because I hesitated last night when it was at 100. It was at 100, under 100.5 at plus money on DraftKings last night. And I pump fake for a second, went and did something else, came back. It was at 99, and that's why I gave it out at. This one's simple, man. You got Portland's second leg of a back-to-back, third game in 4 nights, fourth and 6 nights. And this is a 5th game in 7 nights. Always a favorable spot here for me, just in general. And I'm cool with it. This number, the total came out at 212.5. It's all the way down to, it's probably still dropping, to be honest, but I see 204. Like I said, it's favorable spot just based off that alone. I know that Portland is the best. I don't know if people, I said this early on the morning show as well. Portland is the best team on the second leg of a back-to-back. And granted, they played hard last night. Anthony Simons, DeAndre Ayton, both of those guys, I think, had 30-plus points last night against Atlanta. This is the letdown spot, in my opinion. 9-2 against the spread on the second leg of a back-to-back are the Portland Trail Blazers. They've actually won, not just covered, but they've won and covered the last 4 in this spot. But like I said, 5th game in 7 nights, that was never the case. And for the Knicks, second game back with OG, they are 4-0. And I'm not endorsing to take the spread in this spot now because the number, if you wanted the number, you should have got it last night when it was a little bit lower. But they are 4-0 straight up and against the spread as a 7-point favorite or more this season. So the Knicks have no problem covering these big numbers when they're 4-point favorites or more. They're also 4-0 to the under. They've held all 4 of their opponents under their team total, only allowing about 97 points per game in this spot. And the Knicks are also 13-2, straight up 12-3 against the spread, which is a great covering rate with OG Anunoby on the season, winning by an average of 15 points and allowing just 99 points per game. So all of those numbers, like I said, kind of pointed me towards Portland team total to go under. If I had to play this game right now, I'm not sure how I would play it. Maybe Knicks early because I think Portland runs out of gas. Knicks probably, locked in this spot. And they already smoked the Portland Trail Blazers earlier this season as well. But the Simons news, definitely is concerning if you wanted to take the points with the Portland Trail Blazers here, because without him, I mean, you really just got, Scoot Henderson out there and DeAndre Ayton, who I think get neutralized. He gets neutralized today. I know he's been having a lot of really, really great games, but I think he gets neutralized today with Isaiah Hardenstein, even Josh Hart, even OG Anunoby. I mean, the Knicks are no slouch at being able to rebound the basketball, and that's one of the things that the Portland Trail Blazers do best. Portland, one of the best offensive and defensive rebounding teams on the season. So I think that gets taken away today. Real quick, let me just look at it for you guys. Let me just pull it up real quick. The Knicks versus Portland. All right, so the Knicks on the season, the best offensive rebounding team in the league. Portland's the 3rd best offensive rebounding team in the league. As far as allowing opponents offensive rebounds, the Knicks allow the 2nd fewest opponent rebounds on the season, offensive rebounds on the season, whereas Portland gives up a ton of them. They actually give up the 2nd most. So I think that, like I said, the Knicks, the strength of Portland is kind of neutralized here. And I think that plays a big part because Portland is also not a great offensive team. They're the second worst offensive team, second worst in effective field goal percentage on the season. After the All-Star break, it doesn't get too much better. They're still third worst in effective field goal percentage, fouling at a really high rate as well. And there's not forcing a lot of turnovers. They just are not good at all. So I think Knicks maybe first half to kind of cut this in half is maybe the play, but not anything that I played after what I had already gave out last night. Just because, like I said, today is one of those days where you really had to get ahead, in my opinion, based on the lines. And then the only other game that let me just go through the comments real quick. I know I skipped one game, and I'll go back to it. I didn't even make a graphic for it. LJ right here. Yeah, I'm about to go back to it, LJ. I'll go back to it. Jermaine says Knicks by 15 and Portland team total under. Yeah, I can see that. I can definitely see that. Matthew says he played SGA over 30.5. MVP run continues on nationally televised game. This is a nationally televised game. I'm glad you mentioned that. I think it's a TNT game tonight. And I don't know if you guys had a chance to see it, but SGA was actually stat padding last game. He fouled the Pacers when Pacers were up by like 10 points. He fouled them just so he could get the ball back and go get a layup so he could get the 30 points, I think it was in that last game. So he doing whatever he got to do right now, man. It's kind of crazy, but it's kind of crazy. Jermaine says took Portland money line on they back-to-back last week. And LJ says he likes Josh Hart triple-double again at plus 2,500. He says, why not? Tasha says Knicks first half team total over 54.5. What do you think? Let's look at that real quick, Tasha. So since the All-Star break, it's been about 10, 11 games. Portland defense is 20th in deficiency. 20th in points allowed per 100 possessions. They're giving up about 116. Effective field goal percentage is 27. So they're allowing teams to shoot the third best percentage. They're giving up a ton of offensive rebounds, the sixth most, fouling at the second highest rate. The only thing that they're not doing is they are forcing turnovers. The Knicks do a pretty good job of not turning the ball over, though. Well, typically they do, but they have been turning the ball over a tad bit more. But I think some of that was with Brunson out of the lineup. So, that's a major advantage that Portland has if they can force the Knicks to turn the ball over. I don't think the Knicks turn the ball over today, though, just because, like I said, I think some of these numbers are a tad bit skewed for the Knicks because Brunson did miss some time. And they had the secondary and tertiary lineup in. I can see Knicks first half team total going over, Tasha. I do think it's a very low number for the Knicks here. 416 says Portland stat padding Aiden to get his trade value up on TNT. That could be true. He's still going to have a difficult time, in my opinion, here. Cincy Tino says the Mavs game is on TNT. Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought it was. All right. Those are my thoughts on the game. So real quick, let's go through, and I'll put this on the official page because I don't want to talk about the game because I didn't make a graphic for this last game. So I'll just talk about it here with the top looks as you guys can look at and see those if you're watching it on YouTube. These were the plays that I made last night. But going back real quick, let's look at this Wizards and Houston game didn't really intrigue me too much. And that was one of the reasons why I didn't really handicap it too much yesterday. You got the Wizards second game on this little, you can call it Midwest road trip. They did just get smoked to the Memphis Grizzlies, and they were laying points in that spot. I can't back the Wizards. They're still without a center, no Rashad Holmes. So you got Kyle Kuzma playing center. And I kind of want to wait on San Antonio, man. I said that I like San Antonio. I thought that they should be able to cover that short number against the San Antonio Spurs. And they are off 1 day's rest. Of course, didn't have to travel far because the game was just up the street in San Antonio. But man, I really want to wait, man. And that's one of the reasons why I didn't really want to play this game is because I want to see what Houston is without Sengun. I think if I look into their numbers, I'm not gonna really see a lot. With him on the floor, with him off the floor, the last 5 games, the last 10 games from an analytical perspective. So that was one of the things that kind of kept me up. I do think that the top player in this game, if I had to make one myself, I'll be looking at Jabari Smith Jr. You can get his 10 rebounds and a win on FanDuel and a player performance double for minus 108. To me, that's really great odds. Jabari Smith Jr. is averaging about 10 rebounds. He's going to have a ton of offensive rebound opportunities. There's nobody on this Wizards team that's going to, be able to get more rebounds than him. And I do think that he's going to continue to start at the center. He started at center last game against the San Antonio Spurs. I think that they probably keep him at center. And the Wizards, we know that their offense has been putrid. The Wizards offense is going to miss a ton of shots. Real quick, the Wizards offense is 27th in points scored per 100 possessions after the All-Star break, 22nd in effective field goal percentage, and 29th in offensive rebounding. So that's a ton. They're not getting any offensive rebounds. The second worst offensive rebounding team since the All-Star break. On the opposite side, the Wizards defense is giving up the 6th most offensive rebounds since the All-Star break. So this to me screams Jabari Smith-Jr. over. I like his rebounds. I like the rebounds in the win. Like I said, you can get it at -108. This was something that I added to the bet slip. I just didn't place it yet. Jabari Smith Jr., 10 plus rebounds in a win on FanDuel. It might be better odds if you build it out. I didn't even build it out. But that seems like it makes a lot of sense to me. Yeah, and I know, it's supposed to be a fast-paced game. Houston has been playing a lot faster over the last 5 games. The Washington Wizards are the fastest team in the NBA. Real quick, let me just look at Houston offense pace. Houston is playing 95.5 over the last 5 games, and I know Washington is number 1. Washington is at 98.6 over the last 5 games. Both of the teams playing a really soft schedule over the last 5 games. I'm not playing the side. I have no idea what's going to happen. I don't think the Wizards want to win the game. Houston, at least, they have been winning. They didn't cover their last one. And like I said, I just kind of want to figure out who they are. If I couldn't even tell you what to do if I had to play this game from a side perspective. And I think the total is a tad bit conflicting because while both of these teams have been playing with a little more pace, both of them are really bad offensively. Like Washington, their offense is terrible. Granted, their defense isn't good, but their offense is terrible too. So I can't trust them to score points. They couldn't score on Memphis. And, I can see Houston defense, something that's not being mentioned. They're 8th in opponent points score allowed per 100 possessions, 6th in opponent effective field goal percentage after the All-Star break. So top 10 in both of those categories. They're not turning the ball over, not giving up a ton of offensive rebounds. I can see Washington struggling to score, which is one of the reasons why I couldn't get there. Like I said, Washington also offense after the All-Star break, scoring just the third fewest points, 108.3 per 100 possessions, ranked 27th. So I can't get there with the over, even though it should be a fast-paced, up-and-down type game. But I also don't want to play the under with 2 bad defenses. So, like I said, Jabari Smith Jr. not his double-double, but his 10 rebounds in a win, I think, is probably the best look here. That's how I felt about that game. All right, so now let's go through the comments, and then we'll get into the favorite looks. And I'm gonna get up off here. 44 minutes on this week. It's a week slate to me, man. I got some spots that I circled for tomorrow, kind of waiting for some more lines to drop already. Let's see. Tariq says, Vaughn says Knicks Bucks first half money line parlay. That's something I never do, Vaughn. The first half, man, ain't no telling. But I mean, both of those teams should win the first half. -130. I would play it small. That's just my personal opinion. I'm not big in combining first halves. Every time I take a first half and it loses, no matter how good the spot is, and then the full game number wins, I think nothing else really matters except the full game. Like, teams don't care if they come out slow. I watched some college basketball games today, and the favorites was losing at halftime, and they came back. Tariq says, and covered the full game. Tariq says, Chris, you still like Bucks first half? Yeah, I do like Bucks first half, Tariq. I do. I really, really do. He says he may parlay it with the Knicks first half or OKC first half. So people liking the first half best today. LJ says he likes Jabari Smith, points, rebounds, and assists over 29.5, plus the double-double. He says Wizards have allowed the last 8 power forwards and center to average about 44 points plus rebounds and assists. And this makes a lot of sense to me, LJ. He should get more usage. The Wizards, they give it up. That's what they give it up at, in the paint, right? Defensively, this team really, really struggles. And Houston was doing a pretty good job of attacking the paint as well. Real quick, let me look into that real quick. So after the All-Star break, Houston is 7th in rim frequency, so they get into the rim at the 7th most, at the 7th highest rate, but they're only 26th in accuracy, so they're only shooting about 60% at the rim. However, the Washington Wizards are 29th in rim accuracy, so pretty much if you get to the rim, you're scoring at a 74%, 73.6% of the Wizards' opponents are scoring when they get to the rim. So this should be a big, rim game for, Jabari Smith Jr., Jalen Green, if he wants to get downhill. The Wizards have no paint protection with Kyle Kuzma at the center position. None. So I couldn't talk you off. Could not talk you off at all. That's the advantage. That's the biggest advantage that I see looking through the notes real quick. She says Jason Kidd will double team SGA. He could. He did before. I remember that game that they played earlier in Dallas. He double teamed the hell out of SGA, and Dallas went on like a 20 to 3 run or something like that. And we needed OKC to cover like a 3.5 or something. I don't know if y'all remember that. I vividly remember that. And they barely did it, but they did do it. A couple guys hit some big shots. So this wouldn't surprise me at all. I agree. Nadir says, how do you feel about Amen Thompson rebounds? Kuzma is playing the center. He will stretch the floor. I thought about this as well. He says last Wiz game, both wings had double-digit rebounds. I could see that as well. I just like I like Jabari Smith Jr. too, though. But I could see Amen Thompson getting those rebounds, crashing the glass. Could not talk you off at all, Nadir. 77 Figures says tough card on the Suns plus the 5.5 West Coast road trip, triple revenge. I'd be right there with you, 77 Figures. I think I like that team total a little bit more. But if I was adding 2 plays, it would be Bucks first half, and it would be Suns team total over the 109.5. Those would definitely be the 2 plays that I would add. Suns team total over 109.5, and the Bucks first half. She says SGA not getting 30 today because of that triple team. 77 Figures says SGA is walking 30 a night, 7 out of his last 10 games. Jamie says Milwaukee 7.5. Thoughts if you covered it late? That's cool, Jamie. I don't like the Bucks minus 7.5. They're not playing enough defense. I do think that they locked in at the beginning of this game, though. So I would look for first half just a tad bit more. I kind of went through the breakdown about how Philly's offense has been really, really bad. It's been a lot worse than all those teams that the Bucks just had to play against on their West Coast road trip. This Philadelphia offense is nothing like the Lakers, nothing like the Kings, nothing like the Golden State Warriors, and who else and nothing like the Clippers. So, that's the way I would look. Jay Juice likes Paul Reed over 8.5. Over 8.5. I'm guessing that's points. And then my guy Dream says Jabari Smith over 1.5 stock. He likes his steals plus blocks. Plus the Knicks on the money line is a minus 109. That's a hell of a pairing there. But it would take Dream to find something like that. Let's get some great odds there, Jay. You bought that 11.5 down to a minus 109, bro. I like it. He says Jabari's hit 8 of his last 10 and should play center tonight. And I agree. Definitely agree with that. Tasha says lately Bucks haven't been covering on the first half. They cover in the second half. I think this is the spot though, Tasha. I really, really do, man. Like I said, I haven't added it, but it would be something that I would. I'm probably gonna play it too. Probably a smaller play because I got everything in that I want to play. But I might add it as a smaller play. What's up, SK? He says, what's good, my brother? Hope all is well. Right back at you, man. Hope you're doing well also. Top looks on the board, man. Like I said, I got these in yesterday. Of course, all these lines are going down, but these were the top looks that I sent out to the members, man. OKC, I need them tonight. Portland, Dallas under, I need it tonight. And then, like I said, Portland team total under, and then Dallas and OKC under 239 as well. Phoenix team total over the 109. And Bucks first half, man. If I had to add 2 plays, those would be the ones. Oh, and Jabari Smith. Don't forget about Jabari Smith. I forgot to write that down. Just kind of got it sitting in my head. Jabari Smith. I like the 10 rebounds in the win because I don't think that they lose the game. Like I said, minus 108 was the odds when I checked it earlier on FanDuel. Shop around, build it out. You might be able to get better odds, but that's what I saw. And it's a pretty favorable spot for Jabari Smith Jr. So that's it for today. Like I said, already kind of looking ahead to tomorrow. It's some pretty good spots on the board for tomorrow as well. We got Suns and Hornets. We got Heat and the Pistons, Magic and Raptors, Clippers and the Pelicans. Pelicans are in a hell of a bounce back spot against the Clippers tomorrow. That's something I'll be looking for late tonight. Is the Pelicans line for tomorrow? Nuggets and Spurs probably gonna be trash, and you got the Hawks and the Jazz. So those are the top. Those are the games for tomorrow. Like I said, I'll be trying to get ahead for that card, man. Best of luck to you guys tonight, man, on whatever action it is that you guys do have. Always want to share the resources for you guys as well. Just what I'm using to kind of handicap the games. I said if you guys have any questions about SDQL, just shoot them my way, man. I definitely try to answer them, try to help as much as possible. But these are, just the resources that I'm using to kind of handicap the game. Hit the like button for me on your way out if you found the show helpful. Subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already. Turn the notification bell on so you guys know when I'm going live, whether it's late at night, early in the morning. And let's see. Tariq says, Chris, Dallas, back to back. Let's go. I like it. Okay. I like it too, man. You like it? I love it, Tariq. I'm probably going to get there. And Vaughn says Jaylen Brown is ruled in. So we do have some late injury news to the show as I was about to end. I kind of thought he was going to play too. Yeah, Jaylen Brown will play tonight. So I got to look at a few more metrics, but regardless, I still think that they can get to their team total over. I know Jaylen Brown's a pretty good defender too, but I think they can get to their team total over. So I'll catch you guys in the next one, man. Like I said, I appreciate everybody for tapping in as always. Back tomorrow.